Hey guys, sorry, having some technical difficulties. Waiting for Mike to come on, and I booked the wrong person on the show tonight. Tonight's Mark Victor Hansen. He just called me, said, "Where's the link?" I'm like, "Oops," and Kimberly didn't show up anyway, so it's Mark Victor Hansen. Guys, I'm sorry, I apologize. Uh, but he's a great inspirational. He writes books and stuff. We'll give you some intel towards the end. Here they are right now. Let's get them to join us. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Hello, hello, hello. Let me fix this before we walk into these things. Here we go. How are y'all doing?
Hi, guys. We're good. How are you doing?
Surprised.
Sorry, I don't know what.
We're excited to be with you. We are
10.
Well, I sent you back a note saying that we're going to do it tonight, and then you sent me a note this morning, and the only thing you didn't include is StreamYard. So we're here, glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here as well, and I'm real excited that I'm going to actually be going to Clay's event down in Florida. I just booked tickets for it.
Yeah.
And the guy that got me the tickets is personal friends with just about everybody that speaks, and so I'll be able to. He said I'll be able to interview General Flynn. I'll be able to interview Linwood, everybody. So,
He's getting you like a green room pass.
Well, VIP backstage pass is really, and Clay approved them all because they all know the guy. It's just amazing what's happening with us, and we have grown so much since the last time we even spoke to you.
Have you guys? Wow, tell us about that. I want to hear.
Yes. Congratulations. And let me just tell you, because we were in the green room, and whatever number I give you is made up in my mind, but whether it's 20 or 28 interviews we did with people like you, and then they just exploded us. Also, is it bring all your media stuff, and I think you're going to have to drag Mike with you. And if you need help, I will gladly call Clay and get you guys another ticket. And you want to be in that media room interviewing all those people, befriending them, getting all their names, emails, addresses, and
the guy that's taking me down there is actually going to interview Linwood at his farm. Linwood's not going to be there, but he actually had Linwood sitting in his Rolls Royce. Somebody's speaker's kind of loud. Mike, is that you? No, can you turn your speakers because it's feeding back through, please. Thank you.
Is that better?
Is that better?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So he's very connected, but if you can even get me better tickets, who knows? I look at things now like I booked it, I got the ticket, I booked the flight, and I'm just hoping everything still goes off as promised next Thursday through Sunday, because we don't know what's going to happen next. You know what I mean? Far as anything really, basically, with our government, so. I don't want to get into that aspect of it, but things are happening fast.
Well, it is going to keep happening fast. So my recommendation to you is that you write me a letter and give me all your credentials so I can send them to Clay. Clay listens to us, thank God, and likes us a lot. So we will help you. And everybody out there listening needs to hear the same message, that it is our connections and our connectivity that's going to make this thing happen and rise back to the righteous.
Can I share a spiritual story with you guys?
Okay.
Good.
I love it.
So,
love spiritual stories.
And Mike, you don't mind, do you?
No, go for it, buddy.
All right. And this is what happened. I went through some really trying times here like 2 days ago. I was working with somebody and it didn't feel right. And I just kept praying about it. I kept praying about something is wrong with the person that was going to help me grow. I said, just something's wrong with this guy. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And she told me what to do. She called me up and gave me so much animosity, so much anxiety that I said, look, I can't be around you no more. I just, I didn't say you're fired because she didn't work for me, but she was helping promote me. And I just said, that's it. I'm done. And within 2 hours, this guy calls me and goes, hey, I've been trying to get in touch with you for 2 weeks. God told me to call you. We do a show. Brad and I and Tim and Brad do a show, and they're really big. They know everybody. And he says, I'm not here to compete with you. God told me to come help you and show you everything I'm doing. And I want us to work together to grow both of us and everybody else bigger. And I almost, my tongue hit the ground. I was like, huh? and that's the guy that got me the tickets. He called Clay, but I do have one person that is in Florida that needs a ticket to get in the event. I will send you my information to get see if we can get her in. She works for Trump, so I would like to get her in if I could. She's a really, really good person. But that's how my life has changed. It's like the old story. The devil, it seemed like, was holding a gold bar out at me going, will you take it, Doug? Take a bite of it. You sure you don't want a little bit of that? Come on, get that. And I said no. And as quick as I said no, I was rewarded for not taking it. That's a crazy story right there. This is a book I should write, right?
No,
2 years ago, I'm standing in line for food.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, it's a crazy story, but it's not, because you guys, these things happen, I think, more than we talk about. And part of it is just becoming aware. I think when you start to become aware that the Holy Spirit is inside of you, talking to you all the time. God is not in some far away place in the sky, right? God is working with us, in us, through us. And so if we come to just greater levels of awareness, we start to tune in and go, those feelings are as real as anything, right? That is feedback. That is information, and you have to act on it. Yes, ask God, what do you want me to see in this? What am I supposed to be understanding, right?
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, ma'am.
No, you're good.
I
was just going to say, when you start asking questions and listening for the answer, you're going to get the answers. God, you'll feel it, and the answers will just be so clear in your heart and mind. You just know it. It's the knowing, just like you knew.
And in Romans, it says God's ways are past finding us. So once you ask and you're crystal clear on your vision, your image, right? I call those things in Isaiah. It says, I call those things that are not as though they were, and they came to be. Well, you wanted her not to be in your life, whoever that was.
Yeah, and I was told by somebody that very well is eliminate everything, never mention the name again, and just go on. But I will say the only reason I bring it up is because it was a change in my life. It was like a test. And what I mean by that is I always got faith, but here in the last, I don't know, even since my operation, it's not even 3 weeks, 6 weeks to heal. I was completely healed in like 10 days. Not one pain pill, not nothing. God just healed me. You need to get back to work, get back to the show. I missed 1 day. That was it. And
that's incredible.
I feel closer to him. And I think I told Mike this too. He's like, we're living 3D and we're going to move to 5G. But it seems like I've moved my way to 4G a little bit already.
Yeah, but let's talk about how fast it is. 1G, before 1G, we had a tethered cord, and then we went to 1G, and then suddenly we went to text, and then we went to pictures, and now we're up to 5G, which is instantaneous. You can download a whole movie in 2 nanoseconds. The point is that that's how fast God works. God's telephone line is never busy. You never get put on hold. You never get detoured. You never get withheld. And it turns out that for us, not only is ask yourself, ask others, ask God, but we've been asking God how to sell the book. It's working. How to make every part of our life work. And when everybody out there starts to do that, their life unfolds, and it is exactly what you said. It is miraculous. And what Einstein said is either everything's a miracle or nothing's a miracle. And the two of us believe, and I hope you guys believe, that everything is a miracle. And the people watching the show, the only other proviso I want to do there is, because Doug still is healing internally, at least according to his medical practitioner, pray for them tonight. Pray for Mike. If this show is helpful to you, pray for them. And if you don't mind praying for us, because we really want to see 1 million people before the end of the year read this book and break out of COVID confinement cocoon, because asking is the only way out. And God only gave human beings 2 things that no other animal species has. 1 is the ability to ask, and 2 is the ability to have the imagination to see how it can be rather than how it is. Because you all know the cliche. A lot of people look at it as it is, and I ask why not and try to create what it is I want. George Bernard Shaw started that little line. Other American politicians views it. A British guy started it.
Mike, would you like to interact? Go ahead and say something, bro. And speak to Mark and them.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying both of you conversing back and forth, the three of you conversing back and forth, because I mean I'm hearing things that not only Doug and I have been a part of for the past few days, as well as our growth. I'm also hearing, at another level. When I'm quiet and I'm still, I hear a lot more of what I should be hearing versus what I used to hear. You understand? Many times, and each time he does, he quit when that it's another level of consciousness that I pull from the people that are that surrounded me, and it's amazing the level of quality of life, peace, the level of love, and the level of happiness that has increased. And I know Doug's life as well as mine, and I hear it in your voices as well. And I'm looking in the chat, and I'm seeing all the people that are reading the book Ask, and your goal is to get to 1 million people to read it. You know, we're here together for a reason, and
that's so true. Boy, that's so true. And
we're here together for a reason, and that reason is to accomplish the work of God and bring us all together.
Boy, absolutely. It is. Can you still hear us, Mike? Could you kind of cut out for 1 second?
Yeah, he's freezing a little bit there, but go ahead, please.
Krista, so Mike, you mentioned, the level of consciousness that you're achieving. And so it is important for us to talk about those things because, people are like, well, why are you talking about mind stuff? But God's the one who created our minds to either work for us or work against us. And, there's so much information in the Bible about using your mind the right way. And so when we come to this place of stillness and realize that our mind is literally the vehicle through which God is talking to us, communicating, and through which we get to create our greatest life and our greatest expression and understand how we can serve better. It's really incredible. And that's why we wrote the book Ask, because it starts by asking the right questions and talk about the brilliant creation of our mind. Mark and I looked at a lot of studies that were done about asking. When you ask a question, think about how brilliant this is. When you ask yourself a question, a different part of your brain lights up. So it's the part of your brain that does critical thinking. So literally, your own brain instantly, when you pose a question, it becomes a better resource to you. And like Mark said, animals don't do that. We're the only animal on earth, that they can do that. That's because why? Because it's said we're created in Creator's image. And what that really literally means is we are also creators. We need to understand, we need to show up every day as creators of our lives and start to ask those questions, ask the right questions of ourselves, ask others, and ask God. Because asking ourselves is that reflective journey where we're looking at our lives, we're questioning, we're reflecting, we're going, what's working, what's not working? Am I on track? Is there something I'm missing? That's that reflective journey that we need to look at every day so we can see where we are, so we can see where we want to go from there. And once we see where we are, then we say, okay, where do I want to go from there, right? So that's the next question, in my ultimate expression for which God made me, what should I be doing with my time? What does that look like? Every single one of us, every one of you listening has special gifts, talents, and just showing up every day and, asking how you can show up as a better version of yourself, you will start to see miracles happen. They're so miraculous. It's really amazing.
Well, Doug was doing a lot of asking in the last few days, and I got answers.
I hear that.
It wasn't immediate, but I feel like I'm closer to God than I've ever been in my life. And with that being said, is I felt the Spirit talk to me, and I knew I did the right thing. No matter what happened, what I did, even if that individual that I met didn't call me, I knew I did the right thing. And even Mike tried to counsel me the night before, and I said I just have to pray on it. And and it turned out it was the right thing. And they're just holding it in front of me. Will you take this? Will you take this? And I didn't take it. And
Right.
I don't want to say I was rewarded. I was set on the right path because I asked to be. Like I would have had the operation. I said, God, thank you for what you already done for me. I already know I'm going to heal fast. I accept all the prayers. I want them in my body, and I want you to receive what they gave to me and let you know. And I just healed like crazy.
Well, that's the whole thing. The Bible says, I would above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospereth. Now, where's your soul? Your soul is in your deeper, innermost, highermost subconscious mind. Therefore, you have programmed yourself repetitively to not only am I going to heal, but I'm going to accept the healing and the restoration power of all these people that are on the communication, most of whom you're never going to see. It's like my having sold with the Chicken Soup for the Soul series 500 million+ books now. I will never see all the people that have bought my books. I can guarantee it. It is not even with Zoom, which is pretty dang incredible. It's pretty wonderful that we get to Zoom. We wouldn't have met each other if it weren't for Zoom. I mean, it just is. It is that good. So we are going into the most extraordinary time in history. And anytime you have something, back to 2 statements ago that you made, Doug, anytime you're going into an extraordinary new thing, you're going to have some withholds, some anchors. And what you got to do is shuffle them off by asking yourself, what is it that I really want in my heart and soul and mind? And what is it that I'm willing to give up? Because you can't have 2 simultaneous priorities. The Bible says a horse can't go in 2 directions at one time. Well, it can't. So you got to decide linearly, what do you want? What we want to do is we want to help everyone get on the asking journey, as Crystal said, to ask themselves, ask others, and ask God. And it's okay, like what we said for you. I gave you permission to ask for prayer, and you gave it to yourself. And once you do that, the whole cornucopia of God's great, and by the way, my daddy owned a bakery, and a cornucopia is his corporate symbol, right? The cornucopia of unlimited good, where God pours out all of his unlimited good. And that's what happens for each and every one of us when you wake up and watch a show like this and start to hear some of the people you're going to be meeting with. And I'm asking you to bring all your electrical equipment and interview everybody there and just air some of it, a little bit of time.
Absolutely. That's what I intend to do, because I'm getting the word out, and it agrees with God is the reason the show's grown to where it is. We've grown both pages to over 1.5 million views in the last 30 days. We're above 52,000 on my Frog News channel, and we have 40,000+ on my Doug Kuzma channel. And we're just 2 ordinary guys doing extraordinary things through God's grace. It's all there is to it. We're just the guy next door. Do you know what I mean? And that's how we connect. And we love our people in the chat. We don't scream at them. There's people that I've got plenty of moderators now. There were people that would just attack us because we were successful. People don't like to be left behind. It is a terrible thing, but it's the truth. And
it is. Unfortunately,
we don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the same person no matter what. I'm not just Doug. I'm still Doug. You follow? No matter where it takes me from here, I'm just still Doug. And you know what I mean? I might have to leave some people behind, but I might meet new people like I've been meeting, like Mike's meeting.
Can you hear me?
That's going to take us to the next level. So, you have to accept that. And like I talk to Mike all the time. Go ahead, Mike. I think he's froze.
You're blurry on our screen.
Yeah, he has some internet issues at his house the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at, and
Doug,
I'd like to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're froze. Your whole picture is froze solid. No,
Mike,
I hear like every 5 seconds.
Maybe you can get it next time. If you'll try one more time, please.
All right. I'm going to fix that. Doug.
All right.
Yeah, there we go.
He actually had the guy installing new internet at his house today, and I think his devices have been attacked so many times he has to get a new device. Just buy a cheap laptop. You know what I mean? People don't want to see. There's I don't know, since the last time I've talked to you guys, there's a whole website that's against us. They named it the Frogganites, and it's nothing to debunk everything we say. people are stealing our content and uploading it to monetized channels so they can get paid. And another guy will go live when I go live and make fun of us no matter what we do.
That is so crazy. Like if people just spent time being their best selves.
Yeah.
Gotta get that.
Like, tell them you can't.
All right. Mike says he's just going to call in by phone and see if that'll work better.
Oh yeah, that might be better. Yeah, then he could just join us.
Yeah. But, you know, when you're over target is what I call it, and you're dropping truth bombs on everybody, people tend to attack you. And like I said, people don't want to get left behind in life. And, you know, that's okay. I just keep praying for guidance. God, show me the right direction. He showed me the right direction yesterday. And everything's been going great. I know I'm headed down to, I was supposed to go to another event in Gettysburg. And the tickets were free. But seeing that other person's gone, I'm not about to go up there. But right behind it, here I am going a week earlier down to Florida to a 3 times a big event. And it's not to knock anybody. It's just God put it in front of me and booked the tickets. I'm going. I haven't flown in 20 years, but here I come.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, Doug. And that's the thing. When you start asking the right questions and you start to get guidance from God, and then you start to ask others, you know, because you start to connect with the world, it is amazing how life becomes so much easier. The answers just start to appear in front of you and you go, wow, it doesn't have to be this big struggle. As long as I stay on target by asking those questions, stay in alignment with everything I am supposed to become, then it's like your roadmap just keeps, unfolding out in front of you. I mean, don't you feel that way sometimes?
Absolutely. You know, I thought tonight was Tuesday for some reason. I'm looking at the email Wednesday. Oh my, I got Ken Starr on Friday.
Yeah, you don't want to miss Judge Starr. He's up here.
No. And I know how to address him. I was told.
Yeah. Oh, you know what though? You can call him just out. He'll say, call me Ken, but probably, I'm sure, but he's a kick. Ken is so sweet. Mark and I spoke at this Earth X conference year before last, before COVID, and Ken Starr was asked to introduce the two of us at this event. We're like, wow.
But
Ken Starr is introducing us. We're so honored.
Yeah, Trammell Crow Jr. has got like 174,000 people come to this event in Dallas, and we're breakfast keynotes. And then he said, I've got somebody really famous to introduce you. I said, well, you're the guy who makes all the Walmart stores in the world and do $9 billion. I think you're introducing us. You're a dear friend. He said, nope. He said, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up behind the curtain and it's Judge Ken Starr. And I went, oh no. I said, I should be introduced. I get goosebumps telling you. I said, I should be introducing you, not you, me. Because this guy is a genius, and it's just woken up what is his possible thing by asking himself, how do I do the right thing for America? Which is what this show is all about. How do I do the right thing for America? Because we all have multiple asks. And one of the asks that we all got to do is after you ask yourself, ask others, and ask God, which we teach in our book, Ask, the Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. Then once you got your house in order, so to speak, then you got to say, well, what do I do for my neighborhood? The Bible says take care of yourself, your spouse, your kids, your family, your community, your city, your state, then your country, then the world. Well, all those things need our brain power, like Crystal was saying. God only gave mind power to man and woman. I wasn't being chauvinistic. Humankind. Humankind. And each one of us has got to go and grow to his or her highest and best. The only way you can get there that we know is 2 things that God gave us, nobody else got. One is asking ability, and number 2 is use your imagination, because whatever you imagine, picture, like you pictured yourself getting into that thing, now you're going. And not only that, you get to ride in Rolls Royce. Not only that, you get to meet with Lynn Wood, who is a lovely, wonderful, exquisitely good human being who's won 4 times in court against CNN.
Yeah, he's actually not at this event, but what I was saying, the guy I was introduced to is going to his farm this week to interview him at his farm. But he said when we get down there, he goes to every event down in the South. So they all know him. Like I said, he sat in at an event that Linwood sat in his Rolls Royce. So he knows Flynn. He knows. Actually, we had not General Flynn, but a gentleman on the show last week in Greenville. A guy tried to attack General Flynn, and he did not have a security detail with him.
Oh, no.
The gentleman sitting at the table is a bodyguard, but he wasn't there in that position. He was just sitting there because he's a radio talk show host. And this guy, General Flynn, had walked off the stage. And as soon as he walked off the stage, this guy jumped up and grabbed. He knew what mic was hot, too, because he paid attention. And he said, I want to thank General Flynn. Then he called him all these curse words. And the guy's like, he's trying to evaluate the situation. Is this guy going to try to hurt somebody? Is he going to try to hurt Flynn? So he just snatched him up with one hand. Dude's like 6'4", 275 solid rock. And he snatched him up. But I guarantee you, they told me that Flynn's security just for Tampa is like $60,000 now. Linwood's protected by special forces, so he must have some stuff. But I don't understand why Flynn was not having security at that event. It just every event I've seen him at, he's had security, but he didn't have it at that event.
Well, especially, because here's the thing, you guys. People want to live with a lot of lies. I mean, people don't want. A lot of people are really against the truth, and they get really angry and upset when you start just talking about the truth. And the thing that's so ironic with this, particularly with General Flynn, is he was a lifelong Democrat. And a lot of people don't know that. He was a lifelong Democrat until President Trump came along, and he saw the good that President Trump was trying to do in the world. And he's like, I have to get behind this. There's so much, swampiness in Washington and every agency. And it's just we've gotten so far away from the values that used to be espoused by the Democrat Party years ago, many years ago. He didn't recognize the party anymore. And so that's when he switched. And they resent him because he's just a man of truth. He's a good man. But, it's just the hate and the vitriol is so, I don't see how they can even justify it. It's just this really hateful anger that comes from resenting the truth. So, we just have to really fight for protection and be safe. I mean, these guys are really valuable. We need to make sure they are safe.
Let me ask my guys in the chat a question. They said it's echoing terrible. Is it only when I speak? If that's the case, they're hearing me through your speakers.
No, this your microphone, Doug.
It's not my microphone, Mike. My speakers are off. So could you guys turn down your speakers a little bit more, please?
Sure.
Are they able to hear us if they turn them down?
Please.
But as long as you can still hear, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, guys, did that fix the echo
now?
any? Please put a 1 in if it's still if the echo's gone, put a 1 in. If it's still there, let me know. They said it was so bad they couldn't listen to it.
Well, every time you talk, it sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher behind you.
So I wonder if there's another speaker on your computer, Doug. Do you think? Do you have another speaker going on?
I'll turn
it.
Yeah,
look at your mute and then open it up and look at all the dials on it and see if there's
a lot of people said 1 1 1. Some said 2 1 1 1. Is it still echoing? Somebody puts 8. Thanks.
Keep talking.
Okay, so
Can y'all hear me?
Put it up loud enough so I can hear you guys at all. Mike, does it still sound that way right now?
Yes.
Well, I don't know what else to do. I use this mic every night and never had a problem with it ever.
The funny thing is we're not hearing anything strange.
I don't understand it. Now somebody's saying it sounds good to me. It sounds good.
Is it sounding good now, you guys, both sides, us and Doug?
Mike could do a little talking and see if it's echoing through their speakers on you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you through their speakers.
Is it just Mike's that is echoing, or is everybody out in listener land echoing?
Well, listen, when Mark and his wife talk, do y'all hear echoing? So go, y'all talk about.
We don't hear. I'm not hearing echoing when they talk. Only when you talk.
Well, I'll quit talking. You could talk to him. I don't know what to say, bro.
That's not what I wanted.
No, we all need to talk. So can you guys hear echoes when Mark and I are talking?
No, they said no.
I apologize. But we're talking tonight, guys, about the book Ask. You got to ask for your dreams to happen. I'm going to back away and maybe
back
that'll
off the
help
mic
some.
a little bit. It's better when you're off of it a little bit.
All right. I just recorded videos and they had no problem. All echo when they said. I don't know.
All right, so let's continue. And I want to back up just a little bit, guys. And when y'all were talking about the success and moving forward in our new realms and levels of consciousness as we grow closer to God, and the Holy Spirit continues to work with us and work on us through ourselves, and through leadership of others as well. I'm reminded of a man that was on stage at the first network marketing company I was ever involved with, and that was Amway. And he said it over and over again that night. And I'm not sure where it came from, because he didn't claim that he created the quote, but he said, "Service to many leads to greatness." And that's basically the theme of hearing here now. If you can serve, if you can serve yourself well in your growth with God, you're going to serve others in the same path.
Okay, who said that at Amway is Rich DeVos, the two guys that created it. Remember what Andrew Carnegie discovered by looking at the 12 disciples that Jesus had, that the only way you get infinite power is if you got two together, they got the power of 11. Can you all see 11 in that? Right?
Yes.
1 and 1 equals 2, and that's why Jesus said go out 2 by 2. But and that all worked as long as they're in cooperative harmony. Now, Judas screwed that up a little bit, but Rich and Jay create this giant company called Amway, and where they got that service line is really from Christ at the Last Supper, because all the boys are saying, "Hey, boss, what is it we got to do to be great?" I'm doing this in colloquial English so everyone gets it. Boss, what do we got to do to be great? And he said, the greatest amongst you is servant of all. Now, we've got people out there listening and say, wait a second, I can't serve anybody. I'm not that good. I'm just a janitor. I'm a housemaid or something. Yes, you can. Because Martin Luther King said everyone can be great because they can serve greatly. And when you really do serve greatly, you end up having great kids and great grandkids and great great grandkids. And we're blessed to have a great marriage with, in our blended family, we got 5 kids, and then we got 6 grandkids that we absolutely adore. And tomorrow is the day that we're taking care of them after they get out of Bible camp. That's how clear we are on what's happening in the universe.
That's very powerful, and it's Bill Britt that said that on stage, and he told some of the same things about Martin Luther King that you did as well. So it's a very powerful thing that's from the past that has come forward again. And I think it's a lesson we're all.
Well, it is. And you know what? There is so much, there are so many lessons in the Bible that teach us about how to use our mind. And like you said about consciousness, about how to behave, how to serve, how to be prosperous. The Bible is full of those things, but it's almost like we don't take them seriously. And so now it's time to really take that seriously, you guys, because it's one of the reasons we wrote this book, Ask, is we must, it is a time where we all need to show up as the best version of ourselves, okay? The world needs us more than ever. Our country needs us. God needs us. We need to show up as the most sharp, prosperous, amazing, leadership-minded and hearted people we can possibly be. We need to I am inviting everybody to start asking how they can step into a role that's bigger than you ever imagined for yourself, because we all need to step into our own greatness so we can serve greatly. It is so important. And honestly, sometimes the best way you can serve is just with your own presence. People underestimate the value of your own presence in someone's life. Mark and I just got back from Boulder, Colorado, and just little things we noticed, just little acts of kindness to people who look like they need a little extra help. You know, you buy someone some groceries, or you just do a little something, and people start to open up. You start to talk to people and they go, gosh, you know, I've been in a really bad place. This just, even talking to someone can change their day and change their lives. And I think everybody on here can relate to that in some way. When you were just down and out, that one thing, we are the hands and feet and the mouths of God here on earth. We are, and the ears too. We need to listen. We need to listen for the opportunities. And we talk about in Ask, you know, one of the roadblocks, we talk about the 7 roadblocks to asking, you know, it's unworthiness, fear, doubt, naivete, pattern paralysis, disconnection, all of these things that stop us in our tracks and hold us back because we don't feel like we're worthy enough. We don't think we're good enough. We don't think anyone will want to hear from us. None of that's true. And so we really need to look at all of those things inside of ourselves, those 7 roadblocks that are holding us back. Sometimes we have all 7 of them going on at once, or sometimes, you know, maybe it's pattern paralysis where, you know, you've been doing the same thing last week, last month, and last year, and it's not working, but you're you know, you're going to do it next week and next month and next year until you intervene in the process and say, start asking the right questions. You know, is this working? Is it meaningful? Am I happy? Is there something else I'm missing? You know, and there's so many questions in the book that we give you to consider. There are holding up the mirror questions and, you know, self-reflection questions, all of these things that can help you move forward to step into that new you, that new version of you. Because honestly, you guys, I don't think we've ever been this challenged before as a civilization. This is a global thing. I mean, we watch these videos, and I'm sure you all have seen from Ireland and England. People are aware that something really crazy is going on. And, you know, some people call it Big Brother Global.
Right.
Force that is trying to take over with this extreme amount of the two elements are greed and power. Greed and power. Like, it's never enough money and it's never enough power for them. And so the result of that is this desire for just absolute domination, you know, of humanity. And we have to be smarter than ever to recognize what's going on. We need to be sharper. We need to be more capable. We need to be more prosperous so that we can, you know, be more generous with our money to all the causes that are working so hard to maintain our freedoms and our lives, the lives that we love. And it's the very life that God gave us. I mean, God, you know, the river of life flows from the fountainhead of Jesus Christ. You know, that is life itself. And that's the very thing that's being threatened. Life, freedom, truth, justice, all of those things are what we need to stand strong for.
Yeah,
Can I add
guys,
something? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I was plug your book, List Frogonites. Go on over to Amazon, get this book. This book will help change your life. I recommend it highly. The only thing I could think that was echoing, do you guys use a separate microphone from the computer that you plug in like a USB mic?
You know what?
And is it close to the speaker?
Let's try.
Or
No,
is the
we
mic-
don't. No, we don't.
Okay,
Here,
that's the mic you're using,
this.
right?
Doug, I'm going to try this one. We're going to plug
I think
in
if you're on a laptop, I think your microphone is operating on your laptop.
Let's see.
If you plug that in, I don't think you'll hear anything because
Okay.
it'll block your speakers without headphones.
Camera mic. I'm going to look at here.
I'm just trying to figure out what it is, because last time we had no problem at all. So it's just
okay. So can you hear
see,
us?
now I hear that microphone. So that's
Doug, can you hear us?
Can you guys? There's no
wait,
echo
here.
now, right, guys?
Internal speakers.
So you moved it over. It might have been closer.
Okay, can
to
you
the
hear us
speaker and
now,
it was
Doug?
picking up the speaker.
Yeah, we
Doug,
can
can
hear
you-
you.
I don't hear
Can you
any
hear us?
echo at all now. I don't hear any
Can you
echo.
hear us?
They can't hear us, Doug. Doug, they can't hear us.
I can hear you.
We can hear
Oh,
you.
can you? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is that better, you guys? Could you hear
Yes,
any
that's
echo?
100% better.
Yay!
Okay, so now I can actually
You own
speak.
one of the mic. So
I swear, every time, you know, every platform's a little different, because last time we plugged this into a Zoom call, it was sort of messing up. So we just went with the speaker, the computer mic, and it worked better. But is that good now?
Yes.
Yay.
I just wanted to do a quick story to hit back on what Crystal said. We're in Boulder, Colorado, which is a liberal city, as you know. And I'm in the gym at Marriott exercising away downstairs. And the guy's 77 years young, as he told me. And he's a lieutenant police officer, still active. And he said when he arrived at the hotel the other day, his son is unloading the car. And he sees somebody steal a purse from the restaurant right across from us called Buff's, which is short for Buffalo. And it's an amazingly good food place. And they took off, and he was ready to chase down the guy in the car, but his son wouldn't shut the back trailer because he didn't understand what Dad was saying. Hey, somebody just stole that lady's purse, and I'm going to go get him. He said, Dad, you're not an official policeman here. He said, no, I'm an official policeman everywhere. And I said to him, hey, look, we believe, and I know everybody, all the frog, all of us here believe in the men in uniform. We believe in the police. We believe in the military. We believe in the first responders. And what happens is guys like him are willing to help out even when they're not in uniform. Well, I think that's what Crystal was saying. You may or may not be in a uniform to serve, to help some kid learn math, if there's a fire, have you got the guts and the strength? Like this guy and I were exercising hard together. I just happened to notice that he was senior to me. And he said, you don't really think the guy that stole that purse is faster or stronger than I am. You've watched me work out here for 45 minutes. Am I strong or what? I mean, I'd watch him push out 100 push-ups just like that. And that's why all of us have got to stay strong and able, because he never expected to see somebody steal a purse when he came to Boulder, for God's sakes. But the more we get away from the rules of law and order, and we don't know to ask ourselves to read the amendments. Like, let me just go from there. One other thing. Yesterday, we get picked up by a taxi, a yellow taxi, and the driver was from Sudan. Couldn't have been nicer. Unfortunately, he was told to watch CNN. When he starts listening to us, he said, holy cow, you've opened up my whole mind. I did not understand what is really happening. I didn't understand the attack. I don't like Sudan because they don't have the First Amendment, freedom of speech. I don't like Sudan because they took away all of our guns. And anytime somebody takes away the Second Amendment guns, you're going to get shot, and it's going to be somebody that you don't expect. We've got the amendments were made by very wise people, starting with our forefathers who are all deists, men of and women of God, men really. But at that time, in 1776, we were still chauvinistic. But I can tell you, but the behind the scenes, because I've studied all those guys, Martha Washington was telling George what to think and say, and so was Ben Franklin, Mrs. Franklin.
Here's what I think, guys, as we switch over, and my listeners know this, that we're going to be switching over to QFS, the banking system, and we're all going to be switching over to Nasara. I mean, everybody pretends like it's not going to happen, but it's going to happen. And as we switch over, everybody won't have to struggle for money. Most people won't have to struggle for money anymore. I feel in my heart that what's going to happen is, now that you don't have to struggle, now you need to worry and ask yourself, what are you going to do for humanity, seeing that you don't have to struggle anymore? Are you going to do something to help the good of mankind, as opposed to what you're doing now? I believe everybody has a mission in life, and they're called to do that mission, but some people just haven't found out. They need to ask, what is it that God wants me to do? And not everybody, is, you could be a janitor, but you could be great at something else too. But you need to ask God and ask, what is it did you want me to do? And it'll lead you down another road. And that's what it was me. I was a truck driver in 2000. I drove cross country for a living. I mean, 3 years ago, I owned a sunglass business, sold sunglasses on the side of the road. Look where I'm at today. If you'd asked me 3 years ago, Doug, would you be hosting a talk show and have millions of views on the internet? I'd be like, no. And Mike would probably tell you the same thing as I am. We're just baffled, and we just go what God sends us. We just keep asking him for guidance. And that's the key to it all. You have to, you got to live your dreams and ask for guidance. It's as we move into this new world, and everybody can pretend it ain't coming, but it's coming. I don't want to get in deep to that on with your book, but we all know it's coming, and there's no denying it. and we'll just see how everything plays out. So I believe you have to ask yourself, how are you going to help humanity? It might be that you volunteer. It might be that you learn how to make something that helps somebody. It all depends on what it is, what it is that you're going to help, because we're going to be in positions where we don't have to worry about rent. I'm not saying you ain't got to work, because everybody's going to say I have to work, but through Nasara, everybody's going to not struggle. We're going to go through 1,000 years of peace, not where we are now, is working basically slaves. So you got to figure out, what is it you're going to do now to help mankind? That's just my opinion.
Well, and I just want to add to that, honestly, no matter what the banking system was, when you start asking, what can I do? How can I serve? How can I be the best me? God, show me the way. When you keep asking and asking and asking, just like with you, Doug, there will be things that show up for you that you couldn't have even imagined, because you're trusting it. You're trusting this journey. You're seeing yourself as the greatest version of you. And when you start to get that vision and start to ask the questions, start to ask God, start to ask yourself, all of a sudden you're gonna get these little clues. Something's gonna come up. Someone's gonna call you out of the blue. Something happens, and the puzzle starts to come together. And this thing that you never thought of, just like what you had, and just by giving and serving, the magic of that, when you lead with a service mind, asking, how can I serve? It's extra magical. That's when everything starts to come together.
I believe so. Mike,
really
would you like to interject?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sitting there going through the chat and listening to y'all at the same time. And there's a big stir of emotion, not only within our conversation here on the show tonight, as well as the chat. And I think a lot of people are missing actually what they're asking for. And, everybody wants to know some intel. Well, there's no new intel other than what's going to happen is going to be by the grace of God. And that's the thing that we're discussing about, and how it affects us all individually and as a whole. And through the book Ask, we're learning to drive and steer that guidance that is given to us by the grace of God. And so the folks in the chat, I would ask to just perk up a little bit and listen a little closer, and you're going to hear the intel that you're looking for. We don't know if Biden was on the plane today. Nobody knows that. We don't know any of that stuff, because it's a time for us not to know those things. It's a time for God to do his work, and what the things that are going to happen are going to happen for that reason, because God's out there doing his thing and taking care of the promises that he made to us and humanity on earth.
That's right. Thank you, Mike, for saying that. And I think it's so important to remember that, you guys, like, God has to work through us. He has to speak through. All of us are instruments in some way, so we all need to show up as, like, being able to take charge of our own lives and be prepared and be ready and be the very best we can be and be strong every day and make our plans, because we are going to be, we need that strength. We need all of us to be strong and prepared and our absolute best. And we do that by asking the right questions.
So are you guys going to be doing any more of them conferences with Clay, or any of these freedom conferences, or what's y'all schedule like?
Yeah, we just got, yep, we will for sure, Doug. We're just, we've had so much going on that we had family stuff, a wedding and things like that. So, but we're going to circle back to those for sure.
Circle back. I circled back from Gettysburg to Tampa.
Right on.
I'm really pumped up about going down there.
If you have time when you're in Tampa, you got to go to the beach and see the white sand beaches. They're really spectacular if you haven't been there before.
I will. And for all our people in the chat, Mike has another engagement. He has to go to Ohio, but people in the chat are like, oh, Doug's leaving Mike behind. No, Mike has tickets if he wants to go too, but he had something else to go to, and that's why he's not going. But I'll go there and represent the Frog News Network. We're together as a team. It's not going to break up. Our team is solid. We're not going anywhere. But people tend to think if I say me instead of us, that, oh, it's not that. We're a team. We work together.
Right.
And it just because I said the guy I met, Tim, is my new partner, I meant partner, not in crime, but partner that's going to help us grow our show. I want them to understand that, because they think, uh-oh, that Doug's taking. No, it's not. He's helping the Frog News Network, which is me and Mike, grow bigger. And you're going to see that in the next few weeks. That I wouldn't be surprised by, I don't know, the end of this month, we're over 100,000 subscribers on both channels, because we're just going to explode after we go down there. I get interviews with these top people and get connections with them and pictures with them, and how it grows our audience out, because there's so many different speakers. There must be, it's like when Clay had the other one, there must be 40 speakers. It's 3 days long. I mean, I just, there's so many patriots and good people that are going to be at the conference, and just loaded with stuff and ideas on how to rebuild our country from the ground up, from attending school board meetings to going to city council meetings, to go in the state capitol and find out what they're actually voting on, than just sitting at home watching TV. And how did it get like this all of a sudden? Because nobody paid attention.
No.
That's how we got to where we're at. And we've only got one shot at fixing this, or we're going to lose not just the United States, but humanity. So that's my part. And that's why I'm so excited to go. What can I learn down there to share with my viewers to help spread some of the things to help rebuild our country, ask my questions, and bring it back to my viewers, right? And share that as God would want it, all as one. As we share this stuff with our Frogonites out there, that's what God wants us to do, is come together as one. Like you said, 1 and 1's 11. So can you imagine when we have 3,000-4,000 people in the chat, we got 300,000-400,000 people that want to tell everybody about the good news, about what's about to happen, and I just keep people informed. That's why I'm so excited for the show, because basically, and I don't want to get off the book any, but I'm going down there to ask questions so we can do things in God's favor. That's what I'm talking about.
I love that. And, you brought up such a good point. Like, I think in some ways, all of us were so shocked and dismayed, because we knew everybody we talked to, like the majority of people want the same thing. We want freedom. We want truth. We want justice. So how did things go so wrong? But we were kind of asleep at the wheel while, we just assumed everything was running okay at our polls and in our schools. And all of a sudden, bam, we all got the club over the head. Like, while we've been trusting it and just kind of asleep at the wheel for a while, they've been planning. They've been on it. They started asking the questions, right? They figured out how to take over, how to dominate. And you guys, we're here in the world of dark and light. Okay, so it's time for us to wake up and let the light shine. Bring the light through. You are the lamp. You have to let your own light shine. So we need to be asking all the questions you can possibly think of. How do my elections take place? Who runs the polling places? Who's in charge? How can I get involved, right? Because if you're not doing it, who do you think is? You need to be that person who will show up and, be at the city council meetings, find out what kind of stuff they're trying to push through there. We're seeing parents all over now saying the parents themselves are running for the school board because they're looking at this stuff their children are bringing home going, they want my kid to sit in a corner and hate themselves for being right and beat themselves up and be ashamed that they were born how they were born. I mean, it is stuff that is really disturbing, and it's up to us to change it. And that's at a very personal level. And so that's why we all need to wake up every day asking how we can each be the best we can possibly be, because this is going to require every single one of us to get engaged. We got to show up for the game or we're going to lose it.
Mike, tell us about how they need to change what they teach in school. He's very involved in this. They won't let him attend. They won't let him attend PTA meetings. Mike, go ahead and interject.
The thing that they need to change, from my point of view, is one, they need to add God back to the
Yes.
school. Many of the school systems and school boards across the country, not just here where I live, but many of them across the country have lost their way with their own leadership because God's been removed. And, if they start there, they're going to have a firmer foundation by adding that back. We have a thing where we show up in front of the school and do things that they ask us not to do, like raise the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance and have morning prayer and those kind of things. And we're just going to continue to do it until we finally get those people out of the way that want to keep us from moving forward in a firm foundation of and a Christian lifestyle. We're not always right, but we definitely strive to keep the morals and values that the country was founded on, the family was founded on, and the things that we want our children to be able to possess and carry out in society, like Common Core math. Holy cow! I've never in my life seen such a debacle, to be polite, to teach kids how to do 2 + 2. Okay, I mean, I really have never seen such a thing. And 2 + 2 is going to equal 4 no matter what. And with Common Core math, it doesn't equal 4 until you've gone through 30 different displays of how to get to 4. And for lack of better words, a lot of it's asinine. The kids are coming out of school. They can't count money. They can't balance a checkbook. They couldn't tell you if they had money in a checking account or not.
Right.
Because, there's some good things too. I mean, the digital apps and stuff, the cash apps and stuff, are better for them because they can't do those things. They don't possess those skills. So they can look and see how much money they've got because there's a computer or a processor keeping up with it. But, again, it's making us lazy. It's making us lazy and unaware of waste in our lifestyle, waste in things that are passing us by that we need to be aware of, like God not being allowed in school. That happened quietly at first until it became a problem. And here we are. We're asleep. We've been asleep at the wheel for several years. Yeah. Like Doug said, the couch potato, enjoying the entertainment and not paying attention. And the school system, I could go on and on about the school system. I could dive a lot deeper. Like Doug said, they won't let me go to a PTA meeting.
Well, let him near the school.
Oh, please keep going to the PTA meetings, Mike, because you're making a difference.
He's a truth teller, and they don't want to hear the truth.
It's crazy. I can't even imagine, like, every day when I went to school, we stood up and said the Pledge of Allegiance. That has become a thing that's wrong. Is so telling you guys the craziness that's taken over. And again, we were asleep at the wheel for this to have gone so far, sort of like a snake in the grass, undetected, because we just trusted the system, and we can't do that any longer. We have to just
we missed the warning signs when we just automatically don't question, don't ask.
That's it. When you don't ask, that's so true, Mike.
The Democrats want to take off "In God We Trust" out of the money, and I can tell you that I travel around the world doing seminars with the great Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn and I used to say we love passing away American dollars that say "In God We Trust." Right? All others pay cash as a joke.
Right.
I was told the reason they don't teach cursive writing no more is because that was the Declaration of Independence is written in cursive, and if you don't teach it, they can't read it. So, I remember penmanship was everything back when I was a child.
I've never heard that.
That's a very true statement that Doug just made. They do not teach writing especially cursive writing in schools right now for that very reason, because they don't want the kids to be aware of where they came from and how it was all done and how they got their unalienable rights protected or supposed to be protected. So I mean, that's a very deep topic that has surfaced over the last 6 to 8 months. And talking to individuals, and I'm not going to name Democrat or Republican because they both play the same game, just differently. But talking to different individuals involved in the school system and trying to alleviate politics, but add in personal opinion, these people have been taught that and they don't realize that it's wrong.
Absolutely.
They do not realize that it's wrong. They've been indoctrinated in it themselves.
Boy, I've never heard that said before, but gosh, you're right. I mean, at that point, it's up to someone's interpretation, and we all know how things are being reinterpreted again and again and again. So it's just crazy, guys. Yeah, I think you can see why a lot of parents are homeschooling, or the charter schools are such a good option right now. And in Arizona, we fight for the charter schools, but there's always pressure from the teachers unions. Take the charter, give us all the money. They need all the money. They don't want any money going to charter schools for that reason.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, the charter schools.
One of our daughters 2 years ago, and she's a special ed teacher, and when she was teaching 15 kids in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, some of these wrote they're dumbing down kids, but she tested all the kids, and what she found out out of 15 kids in the morning and 15 different kids in the afternoon is that 4 of them were Asperger's, but they're Asperger's positive. Like Bill Gates is Asperger's positive, meaning he rocks back and forth and he's super smart. And these kids at 4 and 5 and 6 years old were able to read 5th and 6th grade level. So they're really smart, but they're misdiagnosed. And as you know, if you go to a doctor, 97% of cure is correct diagnosis. Well, the same for education. Obviously, when I started in school, my parents were basically illiterate in English. So we spoke Danish at home, and I was in remedial reading from 1st grade to 6th grade. Now I'm world's best-selling author. So it behooves us to ask, what do you really need? There's no shortage of maybe mental power, but there's a shortage of understanding. And they never asked, are your parents immigrants? Well, they were legal immigrants, which is the only kind we ought to have, and they came based on meritocracy, and that's what we believe in.
Absolutely, guys. Mike, you want to interject anything else, sir?
No. I mean, you really sparked a lot of brain activity in me over the last couple of minutes. But the thing we have to all understand is that whether we like it or not, many of us do. The majority is going to rule according to God's will. And that majority is uniting all over the world, not just here in the country, but uniting all over the world to stop these tragedies that have been happening and can continue to happen until we do something about it, like Doug said, and like Mark and y'all are saying that. We got to get involved at even the lowest levels. Our janitor needs to know, at the school needs to know that he's a wanted and needed person, that he's a being of necessity, and he's loved for it. And when we get back to that kind of wholesome lifestyle, we can curtail a lot of the silliness without having to become combative. Like we have in past,
I don't know. I hear something there, but
my wife is pulling tape out, and it sounds kind of funny. Doug and Mike, we're deeply thankful that you guys had us on and let us share with all your wonderful people in the Frog Network. We look forward to doing this again, but we've got to step away here in a second.
Thanks, you guys.
We really appreciate Eight Frogonites. Go to Amazon. Go to the bookstore, get this book, and ask yourself, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do for humanity? Okay, guys, we really appreciate you guys coming on. I know I kind of goofed the show up because I had double booked it, but I apologize, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Stay right there, guys, for me a minute, everybody.
All right.